Good evening, fight fans. This is the Radulich in Broadcasting alternative commentary for Canelo Álvarez versus Caleb Plant, brought to you by Showtime Pay-Per-View and PBC. This is for all the marbles. They are competing for the WBA Super, WBC, WBO, Ring, and IBF Super Middleweight titles. I am joined by Chris Bailey. Chris Bailey, how do you do?
Looking forward to hopefully a wild brawl here tonight, Mr. Radulich. Looks like all the marbles are on the table here. We got a guy who's undefeated, another guy with a pretty spotless record. So, we got a lot hanging in the balance here. I can't wait for Canelo versus Plant. And the intros are underway here. We got Mr. Plant on the way to the ring as we speak. Lots of hype going on here. B, what do you think of this fight? This is tell us about why is this fight important, Mark Radulich?
Well, for one thing, whenever you get to unify all four titles in a major in any weight class, it's always big news. Also, Canelo Álvarez is probably, outside of like maybe Tyson Fury, is probably the biggest star in the sport right now. He sort of took over for Mayweather and Pacquiao when they more or less retired from active competition. I know both of them have done either exhibitions or the odd fight here there. Pacquiao actually just fought a few months ago. But really, the big star in boxing, the guy that does all the pay-per-views, gets all the attention, is Canelo. And Canelo has had quite the storied career. He has fought in multiple weight classes, won belts in multiple weight classes. I mean, if you go back to his early career, he after doing, not even like looking at like the silver titles and whatnot, he beats Matthew Hatton in 2011, 10 years ago, for the WBC light middleweight title. He won more titles against Austin Trout, and then he fought Floyd Mayweather, and with his only loss on his record, he lost that one by majority decision. That was,
of course, he did with Mayweather.
Yeah, and that was a tough loss for him, but he bounced back. He won the Ring and WBC middleweight titles for Miguel Cotto. He won the WBO light middleweight title from Liam Smith. He drew the first time with Gennady Golovkin. And this second fight with Gennady Golovkin is where Pat, Robert, and I started to really follow and document his career. A lot of people feel like the split draw with Gennady Golovkin was not earned. Like, he probably should have lost that one. He definitely should have lost the decision to Gennady Golovkin the second time. That's about where the joke started with our team, about how no matter who wins in any fight at any given time, it's always Canelo 120-0.
And Canelo's seems to be the heavy Vegas favorite here in this one as well. So, I mean, the odds are stacked in his favor. I mean, but let me tell you something. The Mayweather fight would have shown you something, that, you got a guy here who's got the reach. So if he can keep him at a distance, keep him away from the wild swings and that big left, I'm telling you right now, Plant really has a chance here.
So we continue to document it. We skipped the Rocky Fielding fight where he won the WBA regular super middleweight title. He defeated Daniel Jacobs in by unanimous decision. Another one where we felt Daniel Jacobs probably should have won that decision, but hey, Canelo gonna Canelo. He KO'd Kovalev in the 11th round of their fight in 2019, where he won the WBO light heavyweight title, which, as Robert Winfrey said 87,000 times during that podcast, he ain't ever defending that title, and he ain't.
I do.
We then covered his Callum Smith fight, where he won by decision, and he won the WBA Super Ring and WBC Super middleweight titles. He retained against Avni Yildirim in what I commonly refer to as the pig hostage fight. That was a mandatory.
What?
That was a mandatory against Yildirim, and it showed. Yildirim cashed his check, and then it was pin me, pay me, baby. He fought a hard-fought battle earlier this year in May against Billy Joe Saunders, and that's where he won the WBO super middleweight title. And this is it. This is the last of the Infinity Stones. Caleb Plant currently has the IBF super middleweight title. Let's talk about him for a moment. He won the IBF super middleweight title against I'm never going to pronounce this guy's name right, Utkwe, on January 13th of 2019 by unanimous decision. He then TKO'd Mike Lee and Vincent Feigenboots in 2019 and 2020 respectively. And then his last defense was against Caleb Truax, where he won a unanimous decision. And now this is it. One of two things is going to happen in this fight. Either Canelo's going to win the IBF title, and he'll be the unified super middleweight champion, or Caleb Plant is going to defy the odds, and he'll be the unified champion. But I'll tell you, and I want to get your analysis on this now. You've been catching up with all the Canelo and Caleb Plant that you can. I have, like I said, I watched all these fights live, and they're all on the W2M feed under alternative commentaries. Here's the thing with Canelo. He starts off very slow, usually, very defensively, likes to cover up that pretty, going to be in picture's face. And then he kind of drags his opponents into deep waters. And then when their defense starts to give way, you're right. He's got that knockout power, but he has to work for it. He also doesn't love getting hit. And,
oh boy, does he not? No.
And when he gets in there with a guy that puts the pressure on him, he definitely starts to wince and break, and you'll see him start backpedaling around that ring. Caleb Plant, not exactly the world's biggest power puncher, but he makes up for it in volume. He's also very awkward in there, and very, not the easiest person to hit. So it's going to be interesting. I'm not looking. We talked about this earlier. Pat Mullen is watching the fight at home, but he's not covering it tonight. And Robert Winfrey is on UFC duty. And when we were talking about it in our private chat, the thing that we all kind of came away with is that Pat's looking for this to end in about rounds 8 or 9 by KO. I don't think Caleb Plant, who's built of shoe leather, gets knocked out. However, I think he takes a lot of damage over the course of rounds 5, 6, 7, and 8, and they end up doing a doctor stoppage probably around rounds 9 or 10. Maybe something, a cut over the eye, or just too much damage, losing too many rounds and not able to put together enough offense to win the fight. I think the referee or the doctor pulls it away from Caleb Plant. I don't think he gets knocked out. What say you?
Well, here's the thing with Plant. I think Plant has the speed advantage. So if he can keep that speed going in the early rounds, he has a chance to get, steal a few rounds early on and, set the table for this fight right away. If it comes down to a power game, you got Canelo, who I think, at any time can put you to bed with that fucking left out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I will tell you this, depending on depending on how late this match goes, I think it belongs to Canelo, because I think we're going to run out of gas with speed when it comes to Plant. So if it goes late, I'm predicting definitely Canelo. If Plant can start working him away early on, he's got a chance. But it all depends, and he's got to use that reach, because we've seen that Canelo's trouble that he had with folks like Mayweather were all about the reach. He was, he sort of lost that step, couldn't get on the inside. So if the reach is a factor and the speed's a factor, Plant could have a fight here. So
I look for Plant to hopefully, and I hope his corner instructs him this way, that he goes after Canelo early. If he starts slow and Canelo's able to take this in, past round 5 or 6, without him establishing dominance early, I think Caleb Plant's going to get outpaced. He's going to get lapped, and eventually he's going to fall so far behind that unless he gets an unlikely knockout, he's not winning this fight. I need Caleb Plant to put the pressure on Canelo early. Canelo is a guy who I think, if he's getting beat up too much, I don't think he'll go as far as a Victor Ortiz and just kind of throw his gloves down and go, I don't deserve to get beat up like this. But I do think he'll make mistakes. I think he'll let Caleb Plant start to take over the fight if Caleb Plant pours on the offense. The problem is I have not seen in the fights that I've watched with Caleb Plant where he's the world's fastest starter either. If you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube, anywhere that you can comment, Facebook, if you want to chime in, if you have something you want to share with us, go ahead and put it in the comment box. And if it's funny, if it's interesting, if I like it, I'll put it on screen. Now, if you're just insulting, I'll probably also put it on screen, just because it'll make me laugh. But don't attack Chris. Don't attack Chris Bailey. He's doing me a favor tonight. Be nice to Chris Bailey.
Oh, listen, you bring the noise, Twitch. You want to make some fun? We'll have some live bashing right here. I'm primed.
So this is the first fight you and I have done together since Mike Tyson, Roy Jones, correct?
Yep, correct. Yep.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you stepping up tonight since Robert's busy and Pat was not interested.
You didn't have to twist my arm. This is history in the making, Mark Radulich.
Really is. This is a big fight.
This is going to be a fun one.
Because of COVID-19, it was a slow start to the year. But we just had the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight.
Yep.
We've got this. We've got Terrence Crawford. Who's he fighting? Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter in 2 weeks. We've got, there's a lot of really good fights, and even if they're not as big as all that, for God's sakes, Boo Boo Andrade, yes, Demetrius Boo Boo, Boo Boo, Boo Boo.
I would like to have my own entourage. I think I need 15 people beside me, Mark Radulich, just to be on this podcast, just like these guys. They got 500 people in their camps.
Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade will be defending his title. I look for him to, at the conclusion of this fight, jumping in the ring and clocking Canelo Álvarez with a chair, setting up the next feud.
That would definitely help ratings.
Teofimo Lopez was saved by Eddie Hearn and the folks at DAZN, and his fight with George Kambosos is finally Chris Bailey, taking place on November 27th. Devin Haney just locked up a fight with Jojo Diaz. That's happening December 4th. And then December 5th, just the very next day, Tank Davis, Gervonta Davis is taking on Isaac Cruz on yet another Showtime pay-per-view. So like I said,
lots of boxing, brother.
Yeah, like really, really good marquee, like moving the division along fights, all within weeks of each other. We've even got Joseph Parker versus Derek Chisora 2 on DAZN December 18th. So, a lot's happening in the world of boxing. This has been a very back-heavy schedule of boxing events. I'm excited about it.
Definitely. Me too.
I can't wait for the springtime. March is when rumors are we're going to get Usyk Joshua 2, and now just ordered by, I believe, the WBC, more than likely Dillian White in his trick shoulder versus Tyson Fury. So we'll be bringing you the boxing in 2022 for sure. No, it has not started yet, unfortunately. We're still these pay-per-views, especially like Showtime, they take forever to get started.
They have no concept of time or Canadian time. They do not respect the Canadians and their sleep habits. I will tell you that. So, while we're talking about time here, let's talk about our competitors. Let's talk about Mr. Canelo with 59 fights under his belt compared to Caleb Plant with just 21. How about losses? We only have one loss on Canelo, which is the stupid Mayweather fight. Caleb Plant, 0 losses. How about that?
All right. It looks like we are actually about to get underway here.
Good.
Hot diggity dog.
Woo!
Yep. Everyone has cleared the ring. And so we're actually getting a question here on YouTube. It says, what's the prediction? We covered this a little bit, but just to be clear, I think Canelo wins this either by doctor/referee stoppage or decision. I could go
because he always wins. Because he always wins.
I'm trying to not be so snarky. We are underway here, and we start to see Plant in his really awkward stance that he uses, and he is jabbing away at Canelo.
His stance is considered unorthodox when you look at the tail of the tape.
I see Canelo. See, look at it. It goes right to covering up, protecting that pretty face of his.
That's his money ticket. That's his money ticket right here.
The funniest thing I've ever saw was the video footage of him riding the horse in the build-up to the Mayweather fight. All right, Caleb Plant goes to the body. Caleb Plant with a lot of fast jabs there. So that's
what he needs to do, Mark.
So far. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's got that big swing too. If he can keep that distance, this could be. He needs to steal these first 2 to 3 rounds. You know what I'm saying? If he's going to win this fight at all, these are the rounds he needs to be winning. Doesn't seem like much return fire here yet from Canelo.
No,
which is typical.
And Canelo is a notoriously slow starter. You know, he likes to take the measure of a man. The man can take a punch, you know, and I don't want to dismiss him, you know, when I say earlier that he doesn't like to get hit. I mean, who does? But he especially doesn't like it, but that doesn't mean he can't get hit. The guy has got a strong chin. Yeah,
we've seen, like you said, Plant is leather. So he has taken the bombs and survived it. You know what I mean? A lot of his matches, you know, he's taken some punishment, but I tell you what, he's pulled through, and that's why he has 0 losses, ladies and gentlemen, because he can take a pounding.
So I like what Plant's doing in this first round. He's keeping up the volume. Not a lot of effective connections, but he's at least throwing the volume. Canelo, he's got his foot on the brake pad a bit. He's in Plant's face, which I thought was interesting. He's not fighting off his back foot like I've seen him do before. Yeah. It's weird. He's in there. He's giving Plant opportunities, but he's not necessarily returning fire. He's giving the round away, but I think he's doing that because he wants to see what's the best Plant can throw at him and how much of it can he take. I think this is strategic on Canelo's part, obviously.
Canelo has yet to return very much fire at all. It's literally been like a lot of Plant throwing some big heavy bombs. If any of these really land, it could be some trouble. Oh, wait a second.
So Canelo went to the body there.
Yep,
Caleb Plant returned to the head with a right. Canelo there attacks the body again. A little bit. I've never seen Canelo early on fight this tight in before.
Yeah, I know. It's actually he's cutting off that reach advantage, which is very, very smart here. So, you know, maybe this is the way to go. As long as he doesn't get clipped, this could be a smart strategy. Cut off that advantage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he fought Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders, what I remember about those fights is he fought off that back foot. He made him chase them. I can remember seeing how frustrated, for example, Billy Joe Saunders was in the early goings of that fight. He wanted to stand there and bang with him, and it didn't happen.
Plant is using some really silly strategy, like he's sort of rolling into him side on, trying to break up that. Canelo is pretty well controlled that fight. I mean, he kept him in the corner, kept walking him around. He's in control despite not really throwing any punches. And Plant keeps moving in side on and sort of locking up with the side grip there, which is really unusual strategy.
What I like about Plant is, as awkward as he is, he's always looking for various angles. He's not just throwing a jab out there to throw it. His punches have meaning behind them.
Yeah, they really do. You can really see, you can feel the slap every time he connects here. Who are you giving that one to? Round one, who are you giving it to?
Definitely Caleb Plant.
Absolutely, 100%. And very smart strategy right out of the gate. I mean, you had the other guy. He's just, like you said, he's just getting warm. He's just warming up the toast here in round one. And Caleb Plant definitely ahead. But is he going to wear himself out? Was that almost too much here? Obviously, you're only one round down, but can he keep up the pace? That's the tail of the tape here, the story.
Caleb Plant's got good conditioning. I would
Absolutely.
say he's got a little ways there before he's going to start sucking wind. He's sticking that jab out there now. He's not throwing it this time with as much force as he was in round one. He's just sort of, putting it in Canelo's face.
Yep.
They both traded punches there, both almost hitting at the same time.
Almost did the double clothesline.
but what does Boo Boo Andre think about all this? Where are you, Boo Boo?
Very interesting how Canelo is still able to control here from
Canelo getting a little aggressive there. He had this sort of winding hook. Right hook there that Caleb Plant evaded. I'll tell you, there are times where Canelo kind of pokes at him. Plant pokes at him, and Canelo kind of just gets right in the phone booth with him, starts punching down. It was almost as if he thinks he can get Plant out of there early with a one punch KO. And I'm telling you, this guy,
he's not taking a one punch. Yeah, definitely. But we've seen fights from Canelo. Stop midstream. Oh, Jesus. I don't know, man. Some of those punches that Canelo's landing are some bombs they're throwing there. He's back in this game. I tell you what, he's just not going to let him walk away with another round here, which is smart.
Canelo trying to back plant into the corner there. Plant able to sidestep out. Canelo just sort of okay to let him go.
Yep. This is a different round. You're seeing Canelo not letting us. This is smart strategy. He's still controlling this pace. He's still backing him up, still firmly in control of this fight. Boy,
Canelo effectively landing a lot more in this round.
Yeah, he is. He landed basically nothing in that first round. You know what I mean? Just kept the pace, kept control, kept backing him up, and boy, he's throwing some bombs here now. Does he think that his speed is? He's already
happening here. Canelo just teeing off on Plant, and Plant stood there and took it. Really weird.
He's sending a message. Said, "Bring your bombs, boy."
I'll tell you, Canelo very much in Plant's face in that round. I'm going to give that one to Canelo. Definitely well earned. And I'll say this: Canelo, who I don't always love his footwork, he's not one to necessarily corner a guy, cut the ring off. He absolutely did so in that round. Plant had almost nowhere to go. He had him in the one corner, and then he let him out, and then just pushed him into the other corner.
Yeah, this is really something else. I mean, when he backed him in that corner, and he's wild swinging, he's totally in control here, and that's not a good sign for Mr. Plant. Boy, man.
If you're listening on any one of our social medias, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, we appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. I know there's only a zillion live streams of this very same fight happening tonight.
But only one with us. I don't know if that's a selling point, but hey, we'll roll with that. If
this is the first time you're hearing us, last week we did the Zepeda Vargas fight. We did Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, all three of those fights. It's definitely the most recent one. So check them out in our archive, and we appreciate you for doing so if you do. Round 3, here we go. And I'll tell you, we've got some comments here on YouTube saying that they're thinking this might end in a KO from Canelo. I would not be surprised at this point. This is a different Canelo than what I've seen. Apparently, he's not taking no mess from Caleb Plant.
Let's see what Canelo has in that gas tank, though. Because if it comes down to an endurance contest, he's usually stepping back, like you said. He's throwing some bombs here early on. So, does he have the gas to keep going here? That's the question. This is uncharted territory. Let's see.
All right. Canelo's walking him down. He's cutting that ring off. Plant's trying to find a way around, doing a lot of circling. See, there's Canelo going right back to covering up that face, playing defensive, he's looking to counter Caleb Plant. He's like, all right, I've taken some of your early hard punches where you were, had the most pep in your step. Yeah, I'm still here. So Canelo's looking to say, okay, Canelo's looking for a good counter. That's what's happening right now. And Caleb Plant can't get off those ropes. Oh, look at that. Canelo had something waiting for him, and Plant ducked out the back door just long enough for Canelo to pull it back.
You do not want to be backed against a wall with Canelo's punching. Trust me on that one.
Canelo is not giving Plant a lot of room to breathe here.
Nope.
He has been in his face this whole fight so far.
This one could end early, Mark. With this strategy, I mean, Plant has not established himself at all here. Or the early first round, he showed some signs, but man, I don't know. It's the Canelo show here.
Plant with a good combination there, but I'll tell you, it didn't back Canelo off at all. It just stayed. Mm-hmm. He took 2 to give a few more, which is a different look for Canelo.
It is. Can he keep it up? If he can keep this up, it's his fight. No question. It'll come down to endurance. And Plant really not getting to use his reach either here in this one, which is interesting. He's sort of taking away that reach advantage, which is
Canelo,
the only
Canelo
thing
has
really
nullified Plant's reach for 2 out of these 3 rounds here, and I think that might have been good glancing left there from Canelo on Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant took it like a man, didn't even back him off. I tell you, like I said, the guy is tough.
Boy, definitely. You called him worn out leather, or not worn out leather, just shoe leather.
Shoe leather, yeah.
Worn out leather is the new day.
All right, that is the end of round 3, and I have to give that one to Canelo. What do you think?
Absolutely. So far, what I'm seeing here, it's definitely Canelo's round again. I mean, some of those combinations he had him up against in the ropes, wild swings, and Plant not really being able to answer back with that stuff. So it looks like it's 2 rounds to 1 here, Canelo. So the odds makers are definitely making their cash here so far. No fear of losing the purse money, Mark Radulich. Boom.
So Anthony Durrell with an outstanding KO
yes.
in co-main event and a backflip
wow.
to boot.
Oh boy, that guy is agile.
I don't know if I was remember Anthony Durrell. I'll tell you, this has been a fun pay-per-view so far. There hasn't been of the 3 fights that preceded our main event here. There really wasn't a stinker. They were all pretty good fights.
Who led Canelo to the ring? Who was that singer?
Oh,
he came to the ring. Looked like Mickey Rourke. I'm like, hey, Mickey Rourke singing his way to the ring here. What's happening?
So there's a question here from YouTube, which I think is a good one as we get in round 4 here. Any thoughts as to who you'd want to see fight Canelo next? I'd like to see him fight Triple G again, but I don't see that happening. I know Boo Boo Andrade, and I for giggles, I like Boo Boo Andrade. I want to see Boo Andrade versus Canelo just to see it. But I'm a silly man at times. What do you think, Chris Bailey?
You know what? Depending on how this fight goes, you're possibly going to end up in rematch territory. I think that's what's probably going to happen. But anyway, we will see.
There's got to be any number of mandatories that are probably waiting in line. If he's got all those belts, I'm sure someone's going to pop up and be like, "Hey, McGee's needs his mandatory shot." So I guess we'll see.
It'll be interesting to see what the buy rate is for this and to see if this is money because they'll roll these guys together for as long as they can keep making that cash.
Canelo is just waylaying Caleb Plant with those lefts against the ropes. Wow. Well, for the longest time, Canelo was propping up DAZN. He was exclusively a DAZN fighter. This is, I think, his first or second fight on pay-per-view outside of the DAZN umbrella.
He's making that real cash, Mark Radulich, the real cash.
Yeah, he had some troubles with Golden Boy and DAZN.
Man, he is. Listen, man, Canelo really, really, really making an example here. You're really seeing Plant keep distance.
Yeah, I got to imagine Plant is just frustrated because he went in with a game plan. And again, we went over the short history of Canelo over those last few years. Kovalev, Jacobs, Gilderim for what that mattered, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, and he's not fighting like he fought in those fights. This is a very different Canelo.
It is, but can he keep it up? This is the thing. And Plant is really not giving him anything back. I mean, a few rebounds out of the corner, but Canelo is controlling this fight, keeping him, walking him up against the ropes, getting those combinations in the corner, cutting off that reach. I mean, this is everything you'd want to do against Plant here. So he's done his homework, Mark Radulich.
Nice fast combination there from Caleb Plant. Got to keep those fast hands, kiddo.
Definitely. That's his only hope in this fight, man, is that speed and reach.
Big left there from Canelo. But the problem there with Canelo is that he's definitely landing a fair amount of power punches in these early rounds, but he's not following up with anything. He just sort of lays hands on him and then kind of watches his handiwork. He's not. I'd like to see Canelo follow up with a few more combinations after a power punch.
And if you see him in some like his key wins, you see that it's the follow up where he's done the work. You know what I mean? He's really pounded the guy in the corner and combination, lights out. And he hasn't gotten there yet. It's literally land that stiff punch, take a step back so he's not getting caught. Maybe smart strategy early on.
Caleb Plant might do well to start tying Canelo up a bit. Make him wear him like a cheap suit.
Yep, exactly right. You got to take that. He's walking him up against the ropes. Like, I mean, Plant has been rubbing these ropes the entire fight here, and Canelo's just
fresh. He's still fresh. He's got good strong arms. He can do this for. Hey, there he is, Mr. Cancel himself, Dave Chappelle. We love you, Dave Chappelle.
Oh my God.
In any case,
am I allowed to say that I love Dave Chappelle, or will that get us canceled or kicked off YouTube? Who knows? There'll be riots on the W2M network. I tell you.
Well, at least none of my kids were on camera tonight, so hopefully, and I'm not cursing up a storm, so this won't get us demonetized. At least not tonight. All right, here we go. Round 5 of 12. This championship fight: Canelo versus Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant continuing to work that jab out there. Just punching right into Canelo's guard.
Lots of celebrities in that crowd there, Radulich.
Oh, of course. It's a big fight night. They always come out for the big fights. Canelo continuing to just walk Caleb Plant right back into the ropes. A lot of what we've seen from the first few rounds here repeating itself here in round 5.
How can he nullify that? What do you think? What do you think Plant's strategy needs to be? Because he's just lost 3 rounds back to back. Let's be fair. What's he got to do to change up his game here?
Well, like I said, I think someone's getting admonished there from the ref. I think when Canelo starts to throw combinations, Caleb Plant needs to tie him up, get dirty in there, start to wear out those arms a bit.
Both men still have, sturdy legs, so that's a good sign.
Canelo with shots to the body, big hard shots. Caleb Plant looks very frustrated in that ring.
Yep, he's being cut off. He's being pushed against those ropes. This is not what Plant wanted here.
Canelo does not see a challenge in Caleb Plant. You can tell in his posture and how he's throwing, how much more aggressive he is. And I don't want to sound like, I'm one of the many people who's in the tank for Canelo. I call it as I see it, but he is. I've never seen. Yeah, Canelo has no problem cutting off the reach.
No, it's
he has Caleb Plant's number, and I was hoping, and again, I'm good with either guy winning, in terms of fandom or whatever. I like both guys, but I was hoping to see a little bit more from Caleb Plant tonight.
Yeah, it's really a one-sided affair here. I mean,
he's had a lot of opportunities to make fans and get people interested in him. On those PBC primetime cards against Feigenboots and Caleb Truax.
Yeah.
And so this is it. This is the big stage. This is what he wanted. He wanted this fight a while back, as a matter of fact. It's just, didn't happen.
Well, if he wants this fight, he needs to get off those ropes, man. He needs to start throwing bombs. He needs to start pressing Canelo to those ropes, man. I'm telling you right now, if he started pushing him back and getting him in that corner, it's going to be a different story. I'm telling you, because the speed, if he's got any left in the tank, could be the key to winning here. But this strategy is absolutely not working for Plant.
No,
he's being made a fool.
It's been ever since the second round. It's been all one-way traffic.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think Canelo's corner told him after round 1? They were like, "Okay, screw this."
Probably asked him, how does power feel? How do you feel about? Because what Canelo's doing is he's cutting off the ring from Caleb Plant. He's getting in close, planting his feet, and just waylaying him. And again, it's not like he's scoring clean on the temple or anything. These aren't going to be knockout punches. But Caleb Plant's taken a good beating to the chest.
Definitely.
He's got a lot of punches landing, on the body and on the arms. And those aren't going to knock you out. Not where Canelo's landing, but those suck, and it makes you tired, and it hurts.
Definitely. I mean, you get to see, a little tail of that round. I mean, you got that. I don't think that was a low blow in any sense of the imagination there early on when they were talking about that referee, stepping in there. But, definitely all Canelo again on this one. I mean, a few stiff combinations of no follow-up at all by Plant. It looked like he was ready to push him back, but then Canelo just came back and just smeared him on the rest of that round right there.
Caleb Plant cannot continue to let Canelo push him into the ropes. He needs to, and his footwork is fine. It's just not getting the job done, and he needs to come up with something else. At this point, Canelo is just bullying him. Canelo is controlling that ring. He is putting Caleb Plant where he wants him to go, and Caleb Plant is going despite his best efforts to not go that way.
Change your game or you're done here. I mean, I'm telling you, listen, round 6 here already, and he's lost 5 of those or 4 of those. You know what I mean? So this is do or die time. If he's going to make his move, this is the round right here. This is
Canelo.
Yep. Wow.
I mean, saying something positive about Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant can take a punch.
Man, wow. He can take a punch, and unfortunately, that's all he's doing.
See, I don't like that from Caleb Plant. Look at what Canelo just did there. He put his glove on him, and he measured those punches, and Caleb Plant just kind of stood there and took it. Like, you can't do that, man. Tie him up.
Is he trying to make a statement? I can take your punch. Come on, little man. I don't. That is not a sound strategy, sir.
But I mean, that's an invitation for Canelo to do that all day long. And maybe he doesn't get a knockout, but he definitely gets a wide margin decision.
Yes. And if he lands one of those lefts, I'm telling you right now, he's probably not going to stick his chin out for the rest of that fight.
I can't tell on Caleb Plant. I mean, his face looks a bit red. He's definitely being punched up in the face, but I'm not seeing a tremendous.
No, it's mostly body and chest shots, man.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a tremendous amount of cuts. I'm not seeing bruising around the eyes or anything like that.
No, he's very, very fortunate. He's been able to keep his face out of range. Anyway, that's one strategy for him. But that's not what's going to win this fight. I'll tell you that.
That was a nice exchange there from Canelo and Plant, where Canelo was able to bob and weave all over Plant's offense and then hit return fire. God, look at Canelo. Look at his head movement. That's impressive.
Yes.
Okay. God, Canelo has dropped his hands and is taunting Caleb Plant. Not a good.
Oh my God! No! Wow, one-sided debacle.
Well, as we go into round 7, Caleb Plant and his team need to come up with something else. Need to try something else, because right now it's one-way traffic.
Breaks need to go on here. Yep. I mean,
as you watch the replay again.
Outside of that big exchange between the two, again, another full round for Canelo here.
Mm-hmm. They show you in the replay, he came in with a combination, finished up with a good straight left.
Yeah, I mean, even those little jabs, he's doing nothing to Canelo. You know what I mean? Those little tiny rabbit punches that he's doing there is making no difference at all. I mean. Pointless effort here.
All right, round 7. Here we go. And this is where we talked about at the beginning of the fight. This is where I think at this point, this is Canelo's fight to lose.
Yep.
And this is where I think he's going to start to turn it up another gear. A little bit more volume, a little bit faster, a little bit harder.
I think Canelo. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Canelo needs to turn the heat way, way, way up on this one, and maybe deliver a message. Because right now, like you said last round, he's bobbing, he's weaving, he's making fun of basically Plant's offense, dropping his hands. I don't know, one-sided, brother.
Caleb Plant with that just. Flicking that single jab out there. I think we're so Steve Farhood's card just came up. He gave the first round to Plant, as we talked about. He gave the third round to Plant, and then 4, 5, and 6 has all been Canelo in addition to 2. It's about
third round to Plant.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked by that one. That's like the only one I'm really shocked by.
That doesn't make sense. Anyway, I guess so. Yeah, you got to keep it competitive on the scorecard, I guess.
And normally we're making fun of Canelo's scorecards. It's a bit odd to like, hey, wait a minute, what are you doing here, Plant?
He's greasing the spoon here.
Digging left hands from Canelo, just content to lay on.
Jesus,
Caleb Plant.
They're still hanging in those ropes, teeing off on him here. Jesus. Wow. This is not the fight I expected, man. When I watched the build up to this fight, I thought it was going to be much closer, and I thought the height, the reach advantage, the youth, the undisputed record, the undefeated record. I thought it was all going to come into play here. I thought this was going to be a much closer contest than we're seeing here.
Well, I think it also speaks to the level of competition that there's a reason why Canelo, I think, is the pound for pound best fighter actively in boxing right now. Sure. Look at the level of competition that he's fought. I mean, he's fought some of the best of his contemporaries, and at least on paper, he won those fights. And the only one he lost to was Mayweather, who retired at 50-0, and then rolled around in the sandbox with Logan Paul.
Hey, I would take some Logan Paul money too. Don't you be kidding me here.
I don't. Floyd Mayweather, like, I'll take that Logan Paul money and I'll buy myself a building, buy myself a hotel or something in Vegas. Good for you, Mayweather. Only in America.
Dirty Logan Paul money, but hey, you got to take it.
Which reminds
me, let me tell you something here.
We're gonna have to do another one of these in December. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury in my backyard of Tampa, Florida. I'm probably not going to go see that fight live, but I'm going to make Chris Bailey call that one with me, just like we did with was it Jake Paul and Tyrone Woodley? Was that me and you, or was the other? I think there was a Jake Paul fight that we did.
Yeah, we did a Jake Paul fight.
We did. Oh God, the
Askren
fight with Ben Askren. What a nightmare that was.
Oh, that was fun. Come on, admit it.
Every hour on the hour, Chris Bailey texting me, are we starting yet? No, Chris Bailey, no. We're in the middle of 8 hours of a concert.
Yes. We had people smoking blunts in the audience. We had celebrities, D-level celebrities, Mario Lopez. We had it all.
That was embarrassing to say the least. But I'll tell you what, Jake Paul's got himself a handful in Tommy Fury. I'm looking forward to that fight.
But who's laughing now? Ben Askren is sitting back and he's still counting his dollar bills, Mark. So who's laughing?
Good for Funky.
Absolutely good for Funky. Who are you giving that last round to?
So far, it's Canelo.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Hang on, your buddy who was not able to join us tonight is weighing in.
That's no, Mario. You could almost not see Mario Lopez. He was cast aside there in a cloud of weed. There
was more smoke on that broadcast than there was the time I saw Cypress Hill in House of Pain at CW Post College, where the air was pretty much all marijuana smoke.
Oh my God!
All right, as we are in round 8 here.
Round 8 is 4:30 in the morning here in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Oh God, no wonder not me earlier. Is it starting?
Not quite.
Is it starting yet?
It's 1:46.
All right, Chief Hood's continuing to give all the rounds ever to Canelo.
Fairly though this time, not just.
This is earned. This is not the Daniel Jacobs or the Gennady Golovkin fight. No controversy here.
Not as of yet.
As Robert Winfrey would say, they probably already had their scorecards filled out, but at least now.
Why not? Why not? We got to make some money here on this pay-per-view.
I'll tell you what, all the credit in the world to Canelo, man, because Plants nailed him with some clean punches, and Canelo has just walked right through them. They're not backing him up in the slightest.
Not at all. I mean, it's just little light love taps here, little rabbit punches here. That
I said that earlier. It's not really known as a knockout guy. He was, volume, speed, just overwhelming somebody. Being able to stand in the center,
grab those points. But he's a points man. He's a bell ringer. Ding ding.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was.
But we got Mr. Canelo, who is certainly a KO artist. So there you go. This could be could Mr. Plant be eating the canvas here this afternoon? Who knows? If Canelo can actually get him up against the ropes just for some part of this fight, he might have a chance, but he's just letting himself be controlled. It's very frustrating to watch, to be honest with you.
But here's the thing. In Caleb Plant's defense, he's losing this fight, but it's not like he's taking such a grave beating that I think, I said earlier, one of my predictions would be possibly this gets stopped by the referee or a doctor. Here's the thing.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, he's not taking nearly enough damage for that sort of thing. He's just losing.
Yeah.
Like,
and listen, Canelo's so far ahead that he can take the rest of this fight off and just pick him off on points, and he's fine.
Yeah, if he wanted to, he could start to fight off his back foot, save himself some damage. But I don't know. We'll see what he does. I think Canelo wants to make a statement. I think there's if he can knock out Caleb Plant and be the first to do so, that's another nice little notch on his belt. It's all about moments, where we heard that too before. And then it's straight ahead to Andrade Boo-Boo. Demetrius Andrade. Boo-Boo. People listening to this podcast like, why is he obsessed with this guy? Between him and Shakur, they have provided me a lot of entertainment. Jamel Herring, Shakur Stevenson, another fight we did live commentary for. Daniel Lasby, watching us on YouTube tonight, helped me out with that one. That was a lot of fun. That was Daniel Lasby's first opportunity here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network as we get into round number 9 of 12 here on Showtime pay-per-view.
Then he didn't show up for this fight, and he's publicly fired on air, right on Twitch. Fired.
We all have lives. It's fine. There's always another fight. The truth. Don't listen to him, Dan. You're welcome back anytime. I might need you to sign up for DAZN just so that we can watch Boo-Boo in Manchester.
I'm going to teach Dan Lasby how to podcast out of closets and back seats.
In a ditch somewhere. All right, let's pay attention to the fight here as Canelo is wrestling with Caleb Plant and wailing on him with his left. Look at this, just opening up on him. And I'll tell you, Caleb, like I said, Caleb Plant, just a sack of cowhide, just leather.
He's taking those punches. But like you said, they're not connecting to the head very much. Every now and then you get a little jolt, but it's mostly body punches here. So he's not really making the impact that we need here to finish this fight. So we're not in danger of finishing this one as of right this moment.
The irony of that is, as much as Canelo has worked Caleb Plant's body, Caleb Plant still looks pretty fresh in there. Like, I don't he's not second wind. He's not, he doesn't have. I'll look in a fighter's eyes as they're fighting, and I can kind of see somewhat. Maybe this is to a degree projection. I can see mentally where they are in the fight. I feel like Caleb Plant is as fresh as he was at the start of the fight. So Canelo's body work, it cumulative to be sure, but it's not as effective as it could be. And to the question of have there been any cuts or swelling as of yet, like we were saying, no, not really.
If I'm looking at it, I think Canelo looks in worse shape, to be quite honest with you, and he's the guy in control. But let me tell you something. I don't know. Maybe Plant is playing the long game. Maybe he's going to come out here in the next few rounds and just start throwing bombs. Maybe he's hoping to wear down his opponent, take that steam away from him and then unload. But not a very sound strategy against a competitor like Canelo.
Canelo likes those double hooks to the body. He really does. He'll throw one high just to dig into the body a bit. It's an interesting strategy this late in the fight.
In a lot of his fights that I saw leading up to this one, he tends to. Oh, look at that!
And Caleb Plant just let him walk. I thought the round was over there for a second until I looked down and realized we still had 10 seconds left.
They must be operating on pay-per-view money time. We got to let this one keep on going. This one's by the hour.
Caleb Plant with his hands in the air. Okay, so you and I talked about this privately. Mike Tyson is looking old, and granted, he is. I don't take that away from him, but some people get to be Mike's age, and they wear their age with grace and dignity, and you hardly think they're as old as they are. Mike Tyson looks his age right now. Like, it makes me kind of sad.
I mean, you talk about how he looked during his fights, the promo videos, all this different stuff. I mean, the guy looked in amazing shape the last time you saw him on TV. All of a sudden, you get him here in the audience, and he looks like he's 1 foot in the grave. And not only that, he's stumbling over his words. He's out there in the audience, and I don't even know where I am. I'm just out here, and is there a boxing match going on in the wing here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he talked about there was. Yeah,
that's the best I could do. That's the best I could do.
Well,
I'm from Canada. Forgive me.
There was talk of him doing another exhibition, and him, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis, all y'all. Just no, please don't.
Yes, any Mike Tyson, I will pay money.
No.
Yes,
no.
Or I'll at least steal the pay-per-view. Okay.
Leave the circus to Jake and Logan Paul, the ringmasters of the boxing.
Mike Tyson versus Logan Paul.
Shut up. I had somebody at work say that to me. He's like, I want to see Mike Tyson fight Logan Paul. That's fantastic. I'd like to see a boxing match. All right. So, gut-wrenching punch there from Canelo against Caleb Plant on the ropes. Canelo staying in the pocket, winging punches.
Same story early on in the fight that's consistent right on through here. There's no change up in the game.
These are the ones that are hardest to call. Like the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight, the trilogy was a fun one to call because there was so much stuff happening and no two rounds were the same. The problem with a lot of Caleb Plant fights and some of Canelo's has been it's like, all right, everything that we said in that last round, same thing again. This is why Robert and I will start sidetracking into other tangentially into other stories and whatnot. It's like you want to stay with the fight, but I mean, what's happening in this fight right now? Canelo doing the same thing, and the scorecards show this to be true. Doing the same thing since round 4. Occasionally, we see a spark of something a little bit different from either guy, but for the most part, it's been one-way traffic. It's Canelo standing in the pocket, taking whatever Caleb throws at him when he does throw it, and then throwing 3 more to Plant's every one.
Interesting. Interesting. We got to see Plant, who was ducking outside of the ring there, making that break too, which was an interesting strategy. I don't know what in the heck he was thinking.
He has given away enough rounds of this fight that, at this point,
it doesn't matter.
What I always say in a fight that's this lopsided is, just go for broke. Start winging
at this point. You have to. If you want any chance of winning this fight, he's absolutely not going to win it on rounds. He's not going to win it on points.
Well, he has to win it by knockout, and and so fighting the way that you've been fighting for the past 10 rounds isn't going to do you any good.
Yep, and the strategy of wearing the guy down, Canelo is not going anywhere. So sorry, that strategy's out the door as well. So you got to go for broke.
Some people would argue that, no, you don't want to get knocked out. Okay, he loses a decision. He loses by not. What do you think he's losing? He's going to win by decision at this point?
Absolutely.
I don't.
If Canelo was in the same spot on the opposite end, he would still win. That's not this fight.
As we joke, the cards were filled out 120 to 88.
Hey, integrity is key, sir. In the world of professional boxing. Yeah, man, all Canelo in this round. This is all this is. Holy cow. Except
we haven't even seen any cuts on these guys.
No.
Quite the gentlemanly boxing match.
It's just a nice, gentle jostle, we'll say, and it's
a bit of a tussle,
tussle with the muscle. And we have Mike Tyson doesn't even know, he just thinks he's having he's like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, waking up and seeing the same round every 5 minutes because his brain, the neurons are just firing and they're same round. I can't believe it's such a great fight.
What if Boo Boo gets in the ring and Mauro Ranallo yells up, but which side is he on?
Mark Radulich, everybody.
Thank you.
He's here all night, or 157 in Canada, whichever is first.
Ruining the sport for everybody. All right, as we get into the championship rounds here, round 11. And hey, stop me if you think you've heard this one before. Canelo is backing Plant into the ropes.
This is new.
Big left there from Canelo. Look. Oh, and down goes Plant. Goes Plant.
Wow.
He caught himself. He didn't go completely flat, but when he went down, he's going to get a standing 8 count. He's like, nope, I'm still here, ref.
Yeah.
10-8 round for Canelo.
Wow.
Oh, Canelo sees blood in the water. Oh, we're gonna see.
Good. This is what you're going for.
Oh,
yep.
They're gonna stop
this. Go.
They're gonna stop this.
Go.
Oh, down he goes again. We are done. There is no way they don't stop it now.
Finally,
we're done. 11th round KO for Canelo.
A shaka.
The undisputed 4-belt super middleweight champion of the world, Canelo. My wife's favorite fighter, Cinnamon Álvarez. True story, by the way.
And Canelo keeps that pretty face. He keeps the belts. He's put away Plant, Mr. Leather. Boy, this has to be considered a little bit of a shock the way this one ended. And man, he peppered him on those ropes. As soon as he saw blood in the water, he went right after him. Man.
All right, so I'm gonna call him out by name, Mr. Jordan McMarlowe. He called it. He said he smells a Canelo. Sorry, he smells a knockout by Canelo, and he called it. So good on you, sir.
Absolutely. Yes, sir, Jordan.
I hope you enjoyed listening to us. We appreciated you and your commentary throughout the fight.
Definitely.
And definitely congratulations. I hope you had money on this one.
Hope you're winning that cash, Jordan.
Daniel Lasby with a comment here. TKO, and I've heard too much about Chris Bailey and backseats. What a night.
You will learn, Mark. You will learn Daniel Lasby had a podcast out of a closet or a backseat. I'm just letting you know.
An unseen bunker. All right. So I don't know when the next one we are going to do. I definitely want to do the Jake Paul fight. Like I said, if I can't get anyone to do boo-boo with me, I will do it myself, or I'll make my son sit and watch, and you can watch him make faces and cry as I make him watch boxing.
Nobody's awake in Canada anyway, except for myself and Daniel Lasby. So you never know.
Depending on what time the UFC is done with their things, I might try to wrestle Robert Winfrey for Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter. If Daniel Lasby's available and wants to do that one, we might do that one next. And then somewhere, the Teofimo Lopez fight is on DAZN November 27th. So that is definitely one I'm going to want to do. That's Thanksgiving weekend. I don't know if you have Thanksgiving up in Canada. Probably not, right?
Thanksgiving is long gone, sir, here in Canada. You guys are all off dates.
Want to say a big thank you to Mr. Jordan here. Appreciate you, sir. Yeah, if you had a chance to listen to this tonight, Chris Bailey, not always available. Daniel Lasby, not always available. Robert Winfrey, he covers the UFC. And Pat sometimes just ain't interested. So there is always an opening for those of you who want to join in on the fun. Contact me directly on Twitter. I'm at Mark Radulich. You can see it right there on the screen. Or you can follow us on Facebook. Check us out on w2mnet.com. Anywhere on all the socials. If you're wanting to get involved in these boxing streams, let me know. I'm happy to talk to anybody who loves boxing as much as I do. In the meantime, in between time, as we see the celebration in the ring, here's what we got going on. As this will be posted in just a few minutes once we kill the stream. Meanwhile, Robert Winfrey, as they've been talking about all night, this being now Sunday, November 7th, Dexter New Blood will be premiering on Showtime, and we'll have an Everybody Loves a Bad Guy, a discussion of Dexter and his villainous ways from the original Dexter show that ended terribly. So that'll be up. We've got reviews for Last Night in Soho, Eternals by Neil Gaiman, Shut Up, Chris Bailey, Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin. We've got reviews for Dark Side of the Ring Season 3B and Ministry Moral Hygiene for those of you who love Ministry. We re-aired our Canelo Triple G2, Sergey Kovalev and Daniel Jacobs alternative commentaries from a few years back. And over the past day or so, we've had a re-airing of our Chronicles of Riddick trilogy review, plus our Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies review. Lights Out. We reviewed that a couple years ago. That's been re-aired. And then finally, and the last thing I'll plug before we go, myself and Robert Winfrey celebrated the cinema, Chris Bailey. We got in fancy dress, and we celebrated the cinema because cinema is an event. And we talked about 3 Oscar-winning films or nominated films. We talked about Nomadland, Mank, and The Father, and that's a triple feature up in the archives. This Tuesday,
The Father.
the father. This Tuesday, we'll have a review of The Eternals from Chloe Zhao, who also directed Nomadland. So
I can do it. I can do a review of that right away without seeing it if you'd like.
It stinks. Boo. All right, Chris Bailey, I know you've got some podcasts of your own. You like to play with the elves and whatnot.
Yes, sir. So we've got Quester Days coming up very soon with myself and Chris Sheehan over on the Chris and Reggie Network. That show is called Quester Days. So if you're into ElfQuest, the epic Marvel run, you can check all that out. I'm over here. The Podsmen are getting back together for Survivor Series.
Before we do, soon. Chris Bailey and I will be reviewing. As a matter of fact, this Saturday, a week from tonight, is AEW Full Gear, and we will be reviewing that on Wednesday, November 17th.
Loves me some AEW. Hey, do you know that CM Punk will probably speak this week? I'm just asking. I know. Boy, is that getting old. Holy cow.
Real quick.
Yep.
In a hurry. All right, folks. Anything else, Chris? If not, we're going to say good night, Gracie.
Good night, everybody. And guess what? We just gained back an hour right here because daylight savings time, so it's actually 1:04. Got that hour back. Thank you. It's like you didn't even exist, Mark Radulich.
That's what I've been told. All right, folks. Thank you for joining us here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network Alternative Commentary for Chris Bailey. I'm Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.